This is your Daily 5 for Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. Let's talk about a phrase that I've been hearing lately that's been driving me a bit crazy. And while this 5 itself does specifically talk about something I'm hearing a lot in regards to AI, you could really apply this same general thought of mine to any type of technology that people look at and say, maybe we should be regulating this a little bit better. And the response is, oh, no, you can't stop innovation and progress. Now, the phrase today is edge case. Well, I should say the words are edge case as part of the phrase, well, we can't regulate technology based on edge cases. And what this is specifically often being used as is a defense of why nobody should be putting in laws or oversight or limits on AI because it's just too important a technology that's too transformative. And so if you do anything to inhibit its progress, you risk taking away from humanity such a magical and wonderful thing that it's worth almost any cost. And this also gets paired a lot of times with people saying, well, you have to demonstrate harm. You have to prove harm. Actually, I hear the word prove harm, not demonstrate, prove harm before you can start regulating and telling people that they have to slow down. And this is not saying stop all AI, destroy all AI, get rid of it. That's not what reasonable people are not saying that. There are always going to be people calling for things that are crazy, but most reasonable people are simply saying that maybe if this is so powerful a technology, as everybody seems to think it is, the proponents certainly, and it is this transformative and amazing, then maybe we should have a better understanding of how it works and what effect it has on people when they interact with it. And this is where a lot of people will then respond with, no, you can't do that. You cannot regulate based on edge cases, because people will bring up these examples of things that are really bad that happen. The worst of which, well, maybe among the worst of which, if not the worst, are these young people who are talking to these chatbots and then killing themselves because the chatbots I don't think there's been a demonstrated case that I've seen where it actually talks them into it, but it certainly is not recognizing that there's something wrong, or at the very least not discouraging them from taking a step that they really can't get back from. And so I know there was a high profile case from last year of a young man killing himself. I saw one earlier. I'll link to it in the show notes of one from this year where this young woman was talking to it and just saying that she was in too much pain and maybe she should end her life. And I'm just paraphrasing here. You can read all the verbiage inside the article. But essentially the chatbot's response was, well, based on what you're telling me, yeah, I think maybe you're right. And certainly that is not a response that there should be. And I know in the case last year, because that was a ChatGPT case. I'm not sure on this, the newer one. But in that one, OpenAI admitted that they were aware that their tools, safety guardrails, would break down if you talk to it for too long. And I think that's related to the persistent memory issue that a lot of these AI tools are still struggling, which is way too technical and detailed for me to get into now. But the fact is, they knew that something that you were designed to converse with, if you had too long a conversation, the safety guardrails didn't necessarily always work. That right there should be an indicator that maybe something is wrong and needs to be, I don't know, fixed or corrected or at least strengthened before you just let anybody talk to it about anything. Doesn't that seem reasonable to anybody else? And so when I hear people who otherwise seem intelligent and reasoned saying, well, you can't regulate, you can't stop innovation based on edge cases, the only thing my brain can hear instead of the word edge cases is dead kids. You can't regulate based on this number of dead kids. How else could you possibly hear it in response to these particular news stories? If there's another interpretation, please tell me. Because if I tell you, oh, this kid killed themselves and they were talking to a chatbot right beforehand, and it seems like it certainly didn't do anything about it, and the response is, well, you can't regulate based on edge cases, well then, from a just logistical standpoint, my question is, well, if you're talking about the number of dead kids then, what is the number that makes this morally acceptable to just not have any type of oversight or regulation or accountability of these companies when these things happen? Because, yeah, we're using edge case as a replacement phrase. Let's use the actual phrase. If there is a number of dead children that is necessary for a technology to be reined in just a bit, not stop, but reined in just a bit, then please somebody who says this phrase, tell me, what is the proper number of dead kids that requires any accountability? I look forward to your answer later.